Hello and welcome to a Club Penguin Army Outreach podcast interview. Today our special guest is Lord Payne. Lord Payne, would you like to tell us a brief summary of your career, just for the people who aren't completely familiar with you?
All right, give me 1 second.
Oh, okay. I mean, I can go for a little bit. I know Lord Payne is an RPF legend and a Golden Troops legend. He's had a massive impact on those two armies. He's actually notoriously known for his hatred of the army of Club Penguin, the Clovers. He's had a long-standing rivalry pretty much your entire career, Payne, would you say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much my entire career. I was
Dang.
in I was in when I first came into armies. I came in during the World War towards the end of 2009.
Right.
I know that I joined in 2009. I joined the Night Warriors, and
Oh yeah.
I was there very briefly, and then from there I joined the Dark Warriors, and then after the Dark Warriors, I started creating small armies, and then I joined Team Gold, and I tried to become leader in Team Gold, and I couldn't. And I just continued my small army journey up until I joined the Doritos. That was the first uh that was the first major army that I led, and then um after that it just
Yeah.
it goes back so long, so I have trouble remembering
Oh yeah, I got
everything.
you. I mean, it was a while ago, so
Yeah. You
yeah.
know, but I joined. I was leader of, I was leader of RPF. I was leader of GT, the light troops, shadow troops, pretzels, Doritos, UMA, the Army
Pretzels,
Republic,
man. Hell yeah.
SWAT,
Yeah.
Spartans, uh, other armies that I wasn't taking serious, and then small armies.
Right. I know you
I
led
don't
with
even.
time at in was it Tostitos or Pretzels? I believe it was Pretzels where you led with
Yeah,
time at.
pretzels was
Yeah.
just not pretzels. Fucking Tostitos was just a joke. You know what I mean? That
Right.
was a joke. Uh, so yeah, I just I'm trying to remember what I did after. I'm trying to remember what I did after
Right.
Team Gold. Not Team Gold, the Doritos. Um, because I know I made it up to the Doritos, and then I forget what I did for the rest of 2011, but it was 2011 when I got into the Doritos. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And then I did some other stuff that year, and then I broke my computer, and I was out. I was out for most of 2011,
Oh.
and then in 2012 I joined. In 2012 I joined SWAT when I came back. I joined SWAT as leader,
Yeah.
and then from there that's where I joined. And then from there I was in the pretzels. That's when I led the pretzels golden age. Um, pretzels was big. We used to have like three. We used to be like three full chats on Exat, but we just had I just had constant leadership issues. We had trouble getting everybody on, getting everybody online and stuff like that, and constant leadership changes and stuff like that. Just lots of political problems in that army,
Yeah.
and and that's when my crusade against ACP really began, because that's when I had met with Mock and Predator while I was leading the pretzels, and that's where the Black Alliance started, and
Right.
everything from that conversation that I had with Mock that day about the Black Alliance, um, leading all the way up to 2017 in in the Pain Wars. Um, I feel like everything I did between there and the Pain Wars shaped what the community became today.
Definitely. Yeah.
And I feel like if I hadn't, if, I feel like if I always tell people if um when you make a sandwich, let's just say I was making like a let's just say I was making a grilled cheese sandwich. You need two pieces of bread, and you need if you take away any of those, if you take away any of those three things, you don't get the same, you don't get a sandwich in the end, right?
Right.
So whatever it is in life, whatever happens, every element involved in whatever that thing was is required. If you take anything away, the end result isn't going to be the same. So without me, there would be no Black Alliance. And I had that conversation with Mock and Proditor. Mock had asked me if the Black Alliance should come back, if I think that the Black Alliance should be revived, and I told him yeah. And then Coolster was leader of the Black Alliance, which is something that I actually forgot about. I forgot he
Oh,
was ever I forgot that
right.
he was ever leader. I forgot that he was ever leader in the Black Alliance. There was a period of time where Coolster was the leader of the Black Alliance before Water Kid, and then we had a conversation, me, Mock, and Proditor, and we decided to put Water Kid in charge of it because back then everyone knew that I went around preaching the death of ACP, and back then people weren't keen towards the idea of killing ACP, but that's why I like the idea of Water being leader of the Black Alliance because I was leading the Pretzels at the time, and I thought that the Black Alliance was going to fail, and I didn't want my face to be on the head of an alliance that just failed against ACP. But I was fine with Water being that face, so I let them put Water in charge, and then we just kept running shit. We just kept running shit from the shadows, and the Black Alliance did what it did.
Yeah.
It put a dent. It put a dent in ACP. It took ACP out of the top five, and then um, I just went back. I went back and forth between different armies. I led the Shadow Troops several times. I had two terms in GT. You know, I mean, I was in and out of RPF. I mean, I was in RPF pretty much the entire time from 2015 up until I retired. So I stopped changing armies at that point, and RPF became my home. Um,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah,
That's a
so
very extensive history, yeah. And you can tell you know what you're doing,
yeah,
like especially with like putting Water in a position where it's like, see if this reflects badly, then it doesn't reflect on you, it reflects on him, which is actually pretty smart. Because then if it goes well, you can be
exactly,
like, oh, I was doing this from the shadows the entire time. But then if it goes wrong, it's like, oh no,
because
it's
it
just
seemed
Water, like, you know. Because people already didn't like him
because
anyways, yeah.
it seemed because it wasn't just that it wasn't about my idea of putting him in charge wasn't for keeping the blame away from me. It was because one, I thought the entire thing was going to fail, but I was gonna make sure it ran as strong as possible while it was still going on because I wanted it to do something to ACP. Like even if it failed, I still wanted it to do something to them. So
Right.
uh, and people weren't willing back then to follow a mission of genocide, and I was about genocide. I was trying to kill ACP, but they wanted to
Pain's
they
here for the
wanted to
bloodshed, yeah.
they wanted to they were fine to follow Water because all he wanted to do was just battle ACP pointlessly. So
Right.
they were willing to get down with that. But if I was leading from the light and I'm they they wouldn't have cooperated with me. So that's why that's why we wanted Water,
Yeah.
and also I couldn't be the couldn't be attending to every alliance issue while leading the Pretzels, and the Pretzels had their own issues, whereas Water had enough time to be there for everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Payne, I feel like you're the type of guy to like shoot someone in the head and then shoot his corpse like 5 more times just for fun. You know?
Oh my god. All right, so you're saying like death to ACP, and you constantly say this to this day. What does death to ACP mean to you? Can you elaborate on that?
Death to ACP is what that means to me is exactly what it sounds. That's exactly what it sounds like, and it's just I've been saying it for so long, and I used to especially say it when I was leading in RPF, and it's just something that I feel like it flows through the community, and it's three words that I feel like make people think strongly of me, and I what perfect words to make Lord Payne pop in your head besides death to ACP, the number one thing that I'm about. So
Yep.
when I say death to ACP, it's for that, and it's just I don't know, it's a powerful chant that I feel is motivating, and I just want it to ring. I just want it to ring through this community until it doesn't have to anymore. And that's basically that.
Definitely. Yeah. And might I ask, what started this long-lasting hatred between you and the army of Club Penguin? Was there any catalyst for this, or did it just kind of blossom over time? You know?
No, GT. What happened with the Golden Troops was definitely the catalyst, because
Okay.
that made me connect all the dots and do my research, and that's when I figured out that it was set in stone that they had to be my enemy,
Yeah.
because they stand for everything that I stand against. So we're like two sides. We're like two sides of the same coin, me and them.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. So this question comes out from Kate. She would like to know what has been the most major accomplishment of your army career.
Uh, the most major accomplishment in my army career is definitely in the Pain Wars. I mean, everybody had big wars against ACP, but they never accomplished anything. And my uh my way of doing things has always been by the book. The original rules of Club Penguin Warfare that's written on the CP Army Council website. I've always followed those rules to the letter, and I define everything that I do is what's decided whether what I do is made or broken is decided by those rules. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
whether I'm right or wrong, whether I'm right or wrong is decided by those rules, because that's the most legitimate thing that we have in this community as far as what standards go by. In a game, there's rules, and the winner and loser is decided by these rules, and it was decided years and years ago that the definition of killing a Club Penguin army, when people say killing an army, they're not going by the terminology that the rules provide for us. They're going by if the chat isn't active anymore, and the site isn't active anymore. There's no trace of it. There's no trace of it left. But the Club Penguin warfare, I guess, legal terminology based on the rules of Club Penguin warfare. To kill an army, you have to take either all of their servers or just leave. Yeah, you have to take all of their servers, because the rule is, to be considered a Club Penguin army, they have to own at least 2 servers. That is a written rule. So if you take all of the servers of an army, then that army is not even supposed to be posted on the top 10 anymore, or even considered an army, a part of the community. And that's rules that were written before I was even around. So going based off of that rule, that was my goal for the ACP, and I knew everything else would fall in line afterwards, and it did fall in line. They after the Pain Wars, they lost all they lost all morale, all motivation to do anything, and they could barely get people on Club Penguin, and regardless of it, because a lot of people try to take credit away from me by saying that, oh, Club Penguin was
That's
shutting down
crazy.
anyway. If the Pain Wars had not happened, then ACP would have just carried right on to private server armies with the rest of us right away. There wouldn't have been a 2-year gap. The ACP was dead for a fact for 2 years because of the Pain Wars. Without the Pain Wars, they don't close. They continue on into private server armies with the rest of us. They would have been right there with RPF and everybody else who started out there too.
Definitely. Payne, just in between this next question, I would like to ask, are you in like a laundromat or something? I hear a lot of like background noise.
No, I'm not.
No? Oh.
That's my fucking dog. He's in his cage.
uh,
He's in his cage, and he's got his food bowl, and his food bowl is empty, but he's like sticking his nose in it, and
damn.
he's just moving it around, and it's making a clanking noise. And I also got an air conditioner on in here.
Oh yeah,
This
I
guy
got
said a
you.
laundromat, dude. Oh my
Bro,
god.
I heard some clanking. I'm like, what's going on, Payne? All right,
Yeah.
so this question actually comes from Panini, and I'm gonna ask this earlier just because I've received numerous requests in DMs from people who are, very intrigued in what you'll respond to this. So Panini says Mick Happy said he would beat you up and win in real life. How do you feel about this?
McHappy would be too scared. He would be too scared to even touch me in real life.
Dang. Yeah,
And
Payne
plus, I don't
watches
do all that.
UFC.
I don't. And plus, I don't do all that. I don't do all that. All that high school shit. All that. You know how in high school everybody's like come to the park and all that other
Yeah.
stuff. I don't do none of that. They gotta come to me, and I sleep next to 10 rounds right by my head. So I would blow his face off if he can't. If he can't, I'm just saying, I'm not talking no murder shit. I'm talking self defense shit. I'm
Right,
talking
right.
Damn,
this
Payne.
Well,
motherfucker
I
pulls
don't
up
think it
in
would
my
get that deep, you know? Like, you say you're
yeah.
hanging out with him, and then he says something you don't like, and then he pushes you and punches your face. Like, what would you do?
Ooh.
I would
You say
beat
you
the
don't
fuck
have
out
your
of
rounds with you. You're just there, dude.
Well, I might have a knife on me, so I'm
Damn.
but I would fuck his ass up. He wouldn't get that close to me. And if he's some big giant, I would jump the shit out of him. So
Oh,
I'm not worried
shit.
about it either way.
Payne, are,
McHappy,
are
you
you
need to
gonna
stay
tear
away
up
from
his
him, man.
ACP merch? What are you gonna do with that?
Is that actually a thing? There's
Yeah,
actual
they got
ACP
ACP
merch?
merch, bro.
Oh, dude.
They got
I
the real
gotta get some,
Letterman,
man.
yeah.
Come on. Hell yeah, I'm gonna buy that real quick.
Exactly,
Payne,
bro.
you said something about like by the book, the rules by the book. Is there a place where I can find these written rules, or like would it be
Yeah.
available on like? Can you put that on CPAP, by the way?
Oh yeah.
I think that would
Oh,
be really
The
good to
rule,
have on.
the rules. I'll show you where the rules are at.
Yeah,
Hold
we
on.
need the rules, man. You know,
The
like
Pain
Fairly Odd Parents,
Guidebook
and they
to
whip out the
Armies, bro.
rules.
Yeah.
We never. There was never any, and until there's some kind of official voting to where we change these rules and we post the new rules somewhere else. These rules still stand.
Yeah.
Like there's these rules. These everybody still goes by these rules. It's just some. It's just people pick and choose. Um, which of these rules that they want to follow and that they don't want to follow. They basically it basically goes by whatever is convenient for them.
That's crazy. Yeah. And just to
Hold on,
elaborate on
I'm about
the
to,
merchandise, Pain, you can get shirts that are like straight out of Mammoth for ACP. Which is pretty funny.
How
here.
much is it?
Here's a
How
link
much?
to that
Actually,
shit.
hold on. Let me
I'm
pull that
putting
up.
it. I'm putting
Oh
it
yeah,
right here.
put the rules in there. I'm
Where
trying to read this. Ooh, CP Army Council.
there?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, Fat Chicken knows. Fat Chicken, link me to the merch. I know Chaos has hoodies. They got some sick merch.
You were just waiting to post that picture for when I said that.
That rules. Amazing. All right, let me check out these rules. So, Payne, were you involved in writing these rules, or was this
shit.
just Boomer?
No, yeah, this was probably before I even uh I don't know when these rules were written, but they were probably written way
Damn.
before 2009. These were probably written in. I would have to guess that these were either written in the beginning of 2009 or they were written sometime in 2008. I'm betting on 2008.
Damn. I'm one of the 4
Does it
people
say
who
it
liked
there?
it on
Hold on.
WordPress. Look at that. Check that out. Oh wait,
The
let me
fuck is
check.
that shit?
Where does it say when it
They
was
have a thing
written?
called the anti-hack bill, and if
Oh,
you are in
Army
violation, you have
reps.
to pay tax of
Yeah,
10 That's what the fuck.
yeah, the
Bro, you're gonna have
anti-hacking
to give
bill.
him your
I still
powers,
believe.
yeah.
I believe firmly in that too.
You believe firmly in that if we
Damn.
fuck up or do something, we gotta pay money.
Army
Does it
Council
Who do
say
we
stuff.
that?
pay the money to? Who like they were paying Zats every time they got a
I've never actually read the anti-hacking bill.
It says violation scanned me. Someone commented. It said violation scanned me from 10,000 Zats in deface deletes army.com. Damn.
Oh wait,
And deface underground mafia site. There should be a punishment. What?
that's crazy.
Damn.
Bro, there was this person in 2013 that types exactly the same as Panini. I'll send it in main chat if you just admire that really quick. Panini, they have the same exact like typing as you right there if you read that. It's exactly how Panini talks. That's crazy. All right, Lord Prain, let's look at some other questions you've received. Okay, so Kurosaiv from the Templars wants to know what made you officially leave armies.
Now or in 2000, he has to specify.
Oh, okay.
Does he mean?
Yeah,
Why not
he
both
mean?
times?
yeah. Let's start with your OG endeavors, and then we can like talk about Spartans and such.
Yeah. In 2017, after the Pain Wars, I had stepped down, and the reason is just because I was supposed to come back, and what had happened was I had gotten a new job, and I couldn't lead RPF on that schedule, so I had to wait before I could change my schedule again, and um it just took too long to do that, and when Elmaki ended up getting removed, that ruined me coming back because I was gonna come back at some point, and when he got removed, it just created issues because I could have stayed, but I wanted the army to stay exactly as it was, and Elman Key was a an element to allowing that to happen. The alternative was letting RPF become what it did become today, which is soft hearted. It became everything that me and Elmakey wanted to keep away from it. So it became what we didn't want it to,
Right.
and I joined up with him with his little rebellion that he had going on. Still retired at the time,
RDF,
obviously.
yeah.
I wasn't really actively besides showing blah besides showing support on the chat. I didn't really do anything other than that. And we had come across, we had been in civil wars before in the RPF, and the one that had came before this was when Snaily was sent as a spy to RPF to
Oh,
take
Snaily
over, and
5.
then
Oh man,
yeah, she fooled everybody.
I remember that.
I was telling Elmakey the entire time we got to get rid of her. She's a spy, and then she got rid of both of us. That was 2014. We returned in 2015. Um, so that Snaily situation before she took out me and Elm, it was basically a civil war, and and Elmakey had made it through civil war before, and I thought that this was going to be the same, but uh, Commando ended up siding with them, and now they're where they are, and we're where we are, and this relationship that I have with RPF now is it's a consequence of Elmakey.
Right.
And and I'm not saying that he did anything. I'm saying it's a consequence of what happened to Elmakey, and then how I decided to react to that, because when I came, I had been gone for a few weeks, and I came online, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because I heard Elmakey got removed, and they made me owner on site when they saw me, because I had nothing to do with him getting removed. I was
Right.
fine. I was gonna stay as I was, but the situation got explained to me, and then I chose his side, and then I was in his little RPM shit, and it went how it went, and he didn't get returned into the army, which is what should have happened. Someone's career was snatched right out from under him for no reason, other than jealous and greedy people who didn't deserve power, just wanting to grab it from a man who built an army from the ashes of nothing. You know what I mean? And that's what happened with that.
Yeah, legit. I don't know if you noticed, but I sent a visual in main. It was RPF versus RPM, so it was Rebel Penguin Federation against the Rebel Penguin Marines, which was Elm's breakoff group. So you can kind of see a little bit there. That was the Battle of Deep Freeze.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright. Let's check out these other questions, Mr. Payne.
Questions.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
go.
So Kurosai would also like to know, how do you feel about the current army's state? So, like, the state that armies are in so far. I think in this he's actually referring to isolationism, because if you look at all these modern armies, you can see that they're very hesitant to get into conflict. The only army that readily jumps into conflict, as of right now, has been the Templars, and PIC is currently at war with GT, but the Templars have been declaring war since literally like a year ago. So they've been consistently being a war army, being the instigator, and going for other armies. So, how do you feel about isolationism within armies?
Uh, it's it defies what we are. Um, um, there is conflicts that need to happen, and this ties in with what I talk about with role play. Back in the day, when you look at the classic leaders, when you look at me and you look at people like I can't say his name, I can't pronounce it, but
Ayuk.
the creator
Ayuk.
of the Light Troops,
Yeah.
try to pronounce it, Io Luke. That's how
I
I
just call
say
him
it in real
Ayuk.
life.
Yeah,
But yeah, if you look at him and you look at Water Kid and Saw and
yeah. Saw was booting people offline, bro.
XI Unknown,
Yeah, is the unknown.
um, Mustafa. These were guys who they applied Elmaki. These are guys who applied a type of role play to their army, and everything that they wanted to do was clear to everybody under them, and people showed enthusiasm towards these things, and the way that they were able to make it unfold like that is because they were going on, and that's a problem I want to get into with armies today is the army websites are irrelevant, and army websites are a key in role play because that's how we deliver speeches. If you
Yeah.
don't deliver speeches, that's a part of being a leader. You can't ignore any aspect just because they a lot of people aren't doing things just because of Discord and the tools that Discord provides for armies, and people are are they're not as skillful and as practiced because of that, and that's the reason why armies are falling right now. I was just looking at the
Where are you looking at, Payne?
the top 10,
Oh
and
yeah.
armies are back. Looking at 2012 army right now, getting 40 is the biggest sizes that we're seeing.
Right.
The reason for that is because there's no role play. People aren't going on websites and typing up entire speeches and speaking violently and stating and aggressively and speaking about their goals to the army so that the troops can read this shit the way that they used to read it in old times,
Yeah.
and then get inspired, and then you see that's if you remember, you just picture when you imagine, if you want to imagine the results of this kind of role play is when you imagine the chat room of RPF from 2013 to 2017. You When I used to make when especially during the pain wars, when I used to make speeches, and I made speeches for almost all the RPF conflicts from 2013 to 2017. Besides when I wasn't in the army, when I was out of the army from 2013, parts of 2013 and parts of 2014, I was out of the army. I obviously didn't make speeches then, but
Right.
um, you would see people, even the lowest ranking soldiers, privates, you would see them referencing my words, or if it's another leader from another army, you would see them referencing their words, and they would go around just like how I had RPF troops chanting "Death to ACP." You know what I mean? People aren't going to do these type of things, and then feel the sense of urgency to come on and recruit and attend events and do all the things that we need troops doing, because all that's happening now is we have Discord, and we're not posting anything on our websites. We have Discord, and we're putting stuff in the announcements, stuff like that. We're just people, leaders are just, they're just blindly uh issuing these challenges with no reason behind it, and then there's no sense of urgency behind anything, and therefore that's why people can't easily get 50 and 60 and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
They just need to. They need to. They need to express themselves on the website, and they need to fully utilize the website. And and every website needs to be used professionally and designed professionally. And
Yeah, I know what you mean,
the
Pena. Yeah.
the troops will never model themselves around whatever ideology is present in that army, because that ideology isn't being shown to them. They're playing this. They're playing these days. They're playing the game of armies like it's a game,
Right.
and armies are a simulation. You need to play it like it's life. Like they need to know, if I don't do this, my army could die and I'm going to lose my entire community. That creates the sense of urgency. This is placed into their mind by consistently reading information on a website from the leader, and consistently being talked to by the leader
Yeah.
about these things. Then it's burned into their mind. Then they're coming on the chat, and they're anxious to do everything, and they're screaming death to whoever, and they're talking shit about the people in the other army. You know what I mean? You have to create animosity just to be made between these two groups. The two armies at war, and it creates the emotions necessary in these conflicts to make these guys go all out.
So
And
Pain.
yeah,
So you're saying we should brainwash the troops in a way to keep them
I'm
engaged.
I'm saying
Right.
I'm saying that I'm saying that you can't allow people to think that this is something that you can just simply come and go from, because back then leaders like me and Waterkid and Saw and X, XI Unknown and Mustafa and stuff like that, we made sure people knew where they had to be and what they
Right.
had to do. And nowadays I'm not looking at soldiers when I look at the troops in these armies. I'm looking at players. I'm
Right.
not looking at soldiers. I'm looking at players. I'm looking at people who are not. I'm looking at people who are logging on for promises made to them. I'm not looking at soldiers who are serving leaders and serving an ideology. I'm looking.
I think that can
Right.
be like a huge thing that happened with the change of the environment. When the environment changed for everyone to Discord from Zat, the whole system changes. It doesn't work the same. Zat, the environment was very different back
All
then.
right, but you let them. This is just a platform. We still have our mouths to use, and we're not, and that's, these leaders aren't using their mouths. They're using these Discord tools. They're just posting in
Yeah.
the announcements, and you know what I mean. Most of these guys, these troops, they don't even know the top 10 website.
Oh
You know what
yeah,
I
that's
mean?
actually that's true. Yeah.
Most of these troops, they can't name the leaders in the other armies. They can't name the staff. They sometimes they can't do that in their own army. And
You good, Pen?
yeah, I was hitting the blunt anyway.
Yeah, you gotta
Same,
ACP's
bro.
ashes right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Smoking some more of that.
Broken the
Anyway,
ACP pack.
That's McHappy right there. That's my boy.
yeah.
Uh,
Um, where was I?
um.
Let's move on to
Oh
another
wait,
question.
actually, Payne, I
No,
wanted to
no,
bring
no,
up
no.
something
Yeah,
about
I
that.
need to. Yeah, that's gonna mess it up. We can't just be moving on
Oh.
randomly. I need to finish whatever. Um,
We were talking
yeah,
about armies and websites and speeches
yeah.
and the
It's
environment
just, it's just,
changing.
it's just, it's just, it's just. No matter. the main point of what I'm saying is no matter how advanced we get, and even if there's an easier way to do a certain thing, people are doing that and then everything is lacking because of it. That's why
Right.
there's no comments on any news site because there's no engagement. And
Mhm.
that's the main idea behind what I'm saying. Role play equals engagement. There's no engagement now.
Yeah.
There's players who are promised Discord Nitro or any of these other things that they're being promised, and they're coming on. They're not socializing with the people in their armies and stuff like that. And that's what needs to happen. No matter how advanced we get, no matter how much you could say, "Oh, that's old. Nobody does that anymore." I was just doing it. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
just the thing that went wrong with the Spartans is that I was just going by I was just I took the opportunity because I thought it was the last time that I was going to be able to lead with Mustafa.
Right.
Everybody made promises, you know what I mean? I was in there and Mustafa took screenshots of this shit. I was in there recruiting 100 to over 200 people a week on there, and you know what I mean? The army had circled the Berg, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I proved that I still got it. You know, an army takes a team. It's never just one person. You know what I mean? I'm not taking credit for the entire thing. I'm not saying I did this, I did that alone. I never say that about any army that I was ever in. I was in 10 major armies, and in each of those armies, I had a team, and using my skills, my influence, I was able to get that team to a certain spot, and most of the spots where I was able to get it to was somewhere in the top 5, the top 3. Led 2 armies to first, won several Legends Cups. You know what I mean?
Right.
I beat all the big name armies. The last person that Xi Unknown and Saw ever faced before they retired was me. I retired them. I
Right.
fought them. I fought them in that Christmas chaos. I believe that was their last battle. And I've had so many tournament battles against the top 5 and top 3 armies that I can't even remember them all. But light troops, pirates, dark warriors. I've been through all the big names, and I've won my fair share of battles against all of them. The Pain Wars is basically a world war, if you think about it, because all of the armies that had any type of power back then were involved in it. The RPF, ACP, uh, the Doritos, the Army Republic, the Nachos. That was enough. There were enough armies in the Pain Wars that could be considered a smaller scale world war, and I fought all of them at the same time. And none of them could take a single server from me except the Army Republic while I was invading ACP servers, and I took those 2 servers back.
Yeah.
So and
Agree, man. Yeah.
but
Here,
that's it.
I'll drop
That's
a
it, man.
visual of the.
I kind of got off topic there, but
Yeah.
everybody understands what I was saying.
Yeah. I dropped a
And
visual of the
it's
Pain Wars in the main chat.
role play, uh, creates engagement,
Yeah.
and we need to be using one thing that I left out is, I mean, this is implied by that, but we need to be using WordPress sites like this is 2012. We
Right.
need to be doing these things that we did back in the day, like it's still 2011, it's still 2012, it's still 2013. Hell, it's still 2008, it's still 2009. People can't say that's old or we're doing this now. Whatever we used to do then, we do now, because none of it ever stopped working. It's not those things that stopped working. It's the leaders of these armies that stopped working.
Right.
That's what it is. All
Yeah.
right, next question.
All right. So I would actually like to touch on let me find it in our questions channel. All right, here we go. Oh, actually, Payne, I actually have a question. What do you believe withheld you from being like, so you know how you're such an influential figure, obviously. You have, your own like legend bio on your CPAP site, and you're credited as a revolutionary. So, what do you specifically think withheld you from ever obtaining the coveted honor of becoming a Club Penguin Army legend officially?
Just never, just just never begging for votes, and most in CPAC there, it's controlled by ACP, and the Blue Brothers, they're both puppets of ACP, always were puppets of ACP.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody who has become a legend in recent time, besides people that it was so there would have been too much backlash for not making them legends. People like Elmaki and Mustafa, I guarantee you that that the people in ACP didn't want those guys as legends. You know what I mean? Burrito and Vinny became legend immediately after AR became allies with ACP. It's just somebody who promotes the kind of message that I promote. Um, a group of a bunch of ACP puppets would obviously just never vote me for legend, and even the people who aren't ACP puppets, they're all a bunch of just they're all just a bunch of softies that want to turn this community into rainbows and flowers, like people like that one kid, trying to remember. Now, I got banned by this kid on RPF for saying what the fuck did I say? I got banned by the RPF leader F6er for saying fucking I think it was I think he banned me for saying something about putting ACP in gas chambers. I mean,
Oh.
it
Well, that's
doesn't it
probably not
doesn't matter.
ideal.
It doesn't it does but it doesn't matter. But I'm in such a position to where it doesn't matter what I say about anyone or anything. I've done so much for the community that I could just say that stuff, and anybody can say that stuff. That RPF is an enemy of ACP. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You could say I'm going to go ride my bike to Oglethorpe's mother's house and shoot her right in the head. For all I give a fuck, it's nobody's business on it's nobody's business on the internet what people are saying.
Right.
Like you just don't comment about it. It's like if you're to compare this to another situation, let's just say some guy is just walking somewhere
Mhm.
and he's talking on the phone and you're walking past him and you just don't like what he's saying. Do you comment on that, or do you just go away? You don't comment on some shit that another person is saying, no matter what it is, because especially if they're not talking to you and they're not involved with you, you don't if it's not affecting you, if something is not physically affecting you, if you're not getting touched, then you don't say nothing. Like, you keep it pushing. And we can't be promoting nonviolence in a military based community. I mean, that's just ridiculous. This game has always been violent. There's always been guys posting the most hateful possible speeches and stuff like that. And those are the guys that are legends. Those are the guys that a lot of them you'll find on the legends page. And it's because they didn't show any mercy or any consideration towards any of their enemies, and they grinded through shit.
Yeah.
And you know, anyone can say anything. It's the fucking internet. You'll never see these people face to face. You know what I mean? You'll never see them face to face. And it's just that has any chance of negatively see this as real and provide the type of energy towards this community that makes it feel real and keeps things pushing. And that answers a question that you asked earlier too, about why these wars haven't been happening. These
Right.
wars haven't been happening because everybody wants to hold hands and form a rainbow. And the reason for this is people like F6er and anybody else who wants to be in this community acting like a pacifist. You know what I mean?
Right.
It makes absolutely no sense. There is not to be a hint of pacifism in a warfare based community game. It's just like what I've said. I've said this before. Just everybody ends up somewhere in a home somewhere in an army, whatever army that is, RPF, Nachos, or whatever, Ice Warriors. Be there and be friends with the people there, and just know what this community requires of you and the organization that you're from in order for this entire thing, the entire operation of Club Penguin Armies, to keep running. You need to fight each other teeth and bone to create entertainment so that these recruits that every army as a collective are bringing into the community, because every army recruiting well, that is how Club Penguin Armies continue.
Yeah.
And the motivation to recruit lies within the proper role play being carried out, and a part of that role play is generating hatred between armies. And because they're not doing that, we're in a stalemate.
Mm-hmm.
Next question.
All right, next question. Let's look at some of these questions, Pen. Let's see. Okay, this is actually a good question. Why did you name yourself Lord Pen? It's pretty simple, but why did you choose the name Lord Pen?
When I first joined in 2009, I had a different name, and it was Bale Lion, and I based that off of, you ever seen that movie Beowulf? I was
Yeah,
obsessed with
the
that movie
Norse
back
dude,
then.
right? Wasn't he like Norse or something?
Yeah, Beowulf. His name was based
Yeah,
on
that's my boy.
obviously the combination of a bear and a wolf. So
Yeah.
I thought the only thing that would be more badass than that is the combination of a bear and a lion. So I just took Bale Lion, and then I ran with that for a little bit, and the name was just too ridiculous. So I just decided to change it to this. It wasn't based off anything. A lot of people say that I got this from Pain from Naruto. I chose the name way before Pain from Naruto was even a thing, and I just picked it because it was a name that I felt as a major army leader it could be taken serious and feared. That's all. I
Right.
just wanted to do like everything before the Black Alliance, and everything after it. I look at it all as a sequence of events, a sequence of controversial events that I set up in order to make my name so big that I could be officially considered as the guy who is the antichrist to the ACP. So that's what everything controversial that I've ever done or said, and that's a part of being a leader too. That's a strategy behind being a leader. That was Waterkid's strategy, a part of his strategy. That was a part of El McKee's. We all have gimmicks, and when I was going from army to army before I found my home and I stayed in RPF for several years, I was pulling off constant acts of controversy to get my name out there and be that figure. so that I could be the one to kill ACP. That was just a part of my plan.
Yeah, I got you. That was a good answer. And it's actually pretty cool to hear the origin of your name itself. Like, I feel like that's something not many people touch on, but we did with Zook, and it was cool to hear about that for you. Panini is actually wondering if you know that Beowulf is a poem.
I didn't know it was a poem. I thought it was a. I know it's a book.
The
I know it's a book
story
too.
that I believe I heard of Beowulf was, I believe, like his mother or his wife was kidnapped, and he had to go through and like ravage these mythical creatures in pursuit of like rescuing his mother. But then the time he got there, it was like too late. His mother had died. So then he like turned into this beast, and he had just like pretty much unleashed hell in his wake. That's what I had heard. But I think
That's
that's
cool.
yeah. So I mean that even makes it even more fitting because he was ruthless. He was, ready to strike anyone down at any point. All right. So Lord Payne, what is your favorite army of all time?
My favorite army is definitely. I'll say I was gonna say exclusively RPF, but I'm gonna say that my favorite army is definitely RPF and Golden Troops tied.
Yeah. And what do you believe of the current generations of these armies? I know you've already voiced some concerns about RPF specifically. What about Golden Troops?
Uh, yeah, I was talking about the Golden Troops the other day, and I kind of got cut off before I could make my point. But you know, um, I'm grateful to anybody who wants to carry on the legacy of any army I was ever in, or pretty much any army in general besides ACP, and it makes me think. I said this the other day. It makes me think back to when RPF was constantly maxing 5 and 10 for years and always on the brink of death, and then eventually me and El McKee came and we changed everything. And when I look at GT, um, I see them floating around as that 5 and 10 plus entity, and I know that it has history to it, and I know that one day um, somebody is going to see the value in that, and they'll pick up the pieces and hopefully do something like what me and Elmaki did with the RPF. They'll do it for GT.
Right.
And I've been talking to someone, um, and I think that that person might be that guy. And I don't want to say who it is. I don't want to ruin what he has going on, but I had already said the other day that the Golden Troops might have something coming up.
Oh, okay. Can I ask if this is a veteran or if this is a new gen?
Are you there? That was my answer.
Oh, that was it? Wait, can you
Lego.
still hear me? You can hear me, Pen? Hello?
Seems like we're having
Can you not hear me?
technical difficulties.
Wait, can you hear me, Zook? Hello? I'm speaking. It's not working? That's crazy.
Yeah, it seems like Lego died. Rest in peace,
Crap.
Lego.
Wait, hold on. This is crazy. Oh, hello? Can you hear me? Tab to the right. Hello?
No, we cannot hear you. Change your mic.
Okay, hold on. Wait, how about
Alright, we
now?
can
How
hear
about
you
now?
now.
Yeah, let's
Yeah, I hear
go. Sweet.
So- First thing I want to ask, is the recording still going?
Yeah, it's still going. It's
Alright, cool.
what's the current time? It doesn't say the time, but it's been recording since the start. So we're
Okay,
good.
okay.
Yeah. But I know it's been about an hour, Payne. So, do you have
Okay, we'll
anything
move
to
on to the
do?
next
Like, do
question.
we want to wrap this up, or are you still going
No,
strong?
I'm fine. I'm fine with going. We can make this as long as you want to go. I'm not doing
Holy
anything.
crap! Okay. Yeah. Oh, Zing. Hold on. Zing says. Oh, Zing would like you to check his DMs, Payne.
I saw it already. I'm not gonna reply to that right this second. I'm focusing on this.
Oh, does he want you to join Templars?
No.
I thought he was trying to recruit from my podcast. All right, so this question actually comes from Zook. Zook, would you like to ask this yourself, or do you mind if I ask
Alright,
it?
yes. Why not?
All right, sweet.
So my question was, what about armies make you want to come back and explore it more throughout the years?
I just never want to stop. I just never want to stop getting better, man. I never want to stop getting better, and I just want to make sure that I finish things in a way that satisfy me. I just have time for this. I'm still young. I just want to make. I just really want to. It would really disappoint me not to not to not be there in some capacity when ACP dies, because if you imagine ACP as a dead body on the ground, well, actually, let's just say they're a body on the ground that's about to die. They're on their last breath. I just want to make sure that in some capacity I'm there to look them in their eyes and just watch it fade away.
That's deep, man.
Yeah, legit.
Pretty deep.
And I liked the video you put at the end of one of your CPAP posts, where I believe you were Batman and ACP was a criminal of sorts. I thought that was
Yeah,
pretty
on
nice
that
comparison.
on the post that I made. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That's
just the part of
hilarious.
that's just the when I used to make speeches, and I still do that to this day. I like to create some video imagery
Yeah.
just from stuff
Payne,
that
you know I make speeches, right? Because I think I'm one of the
I like
few
to
new
compare
gens.
myself to, and I
Yeah.
feel like they could watch the video and then they could understand. They could understand that even if they don't read that well, or they're one of those lazy people who don't finish reading my whole speech, when they watch the video that I have at the end, even if it's a little clip of Batman or Star Wars or any of the things that I've used to create an illustration of what the situation is to me, they'll see that and then they'll know, okay, Lord Payne is that guy, and the one that we're fighting is that other guy.
Right.
And I feel like that sends a message to them that I want sent, and it helps with the role play. So that's why
Definitely.
I do that.
Yeah, and I feel like it's also like a strong metaphor. Like people will see the videos and they'll laugh at it, but then there's also like a deeper meaning where it's like you truly believe that like the contents of the video will in one way or
Can I
another
ask another
unfold.
question?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Lego, are you here, man?
Can you not hear me?
Alright.
Wait, can you hear me?
We didn't for a second.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
we can hear you now.
Okay, sweet. What I was saying was the videos are a good touch because what it does is, just like you said, some people don't read the entire speech, then they view the video. They see this thing that may appear comical, like they'll look at it and they'll chuckle, but it's like in a way, this fate that you've outlined in the video is still unfolding one way or another, you know? So it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's the main idea. It's like what I said. They'll see it, and I always write in the text which character I am and which character the enemy is. So
Right.
then they'll see that too, and be like, he's that guy, and the other one's that guy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like that contributes towards their motivation. You know what I mean? Role
Definitely.
play is key and showing troops what they fight for.
I
If you don't
agree.
do that, then I'm not saying you'll fail. Obviously, our armies are succeeding without doing the things that I do and the things that leaders that in the past have done. But
And that begs the
it,
question, are they actually succeeding, or are they changing the definition of
they're
success entirely?
they're lasting.
Yeah,
They're lasting. That's what I'm calling it.
because
And
you look at all of the major and SM
eventually,
leaders of this year, and I don't think many of them stand out, if anyone, you know? So it's like, yeah,
yeah, it's because they're not doing controversial. They're not doing the controversial things that the big leaders who arose and became legends.
yeah.
Whether they're an underground legend like uh like me, or an official legend on CPAC, they're not doing and saying the things that it takes to get to that level.
Yeah. And Payne, I would like to say, like, I looked up to your speeches a lot, and I would always read them. And I don't know if you're aware, but when I was leading SWAT amidst the SWAT Templars War, I actually published 3 different speeches to like rally the troops, and I had pinged you in chat and I linked them to you. They're not like incredibly long, but so that sort of stuff is still alive in a few individuals, including myself, but it's not widely publicized enough, like you don't see every single leader creating these speeches of glory and valor. And I know Zing will typically deliver them on voice chat, which is something I find to be even more meaningful in some circumstances, because you can hear the raw emotion and the lust for glory in his voice. So I think, if anything, Discord gives the leaders a better means to like deliver these speeches, but they're just not utilizing it to their full capacity. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, and yeah, uh, doing it on voice chat is a good concept. You know, what I mean that'll affect everybody who's there at that time. But words go in through one ear and out the other. And when you do it on the website, another point of doing it is the enemy sees it. And I always made mine in such a way, especially if you look at the ones that I recently wrote, like the Pain Wars 2 will happen, and what my return to RPF will look like, and stuff like that on
Right.
CPAP. Those ones that are a couple months old. If you look at those, I use in fear and intimidation, even in my fear and intimidation towards the enemy, even in my uh, speeches. And I know that they will go on the site and they will look at those and they will read them repeatedly, and it'll get in their head. And when they see me and I reiterate these things to them, it's gonna keep getting in their head. And I especially did that during the Pain Wars. I really had fear and intimidation working well against ACP. If you think about all the wars that ACP had been in prior to the Pain Wars, they they always fought in those wars. And in this war, they tried everything to avoid me. They gave their entire nation to the Doritos, only to have it handed right back to them, and then I kept on invading them. So it's just that's the point of what I'm saying is when these speeches are publicized on the website, um, it's for everybody. It's for everybody,
Definitely.
and it does good things for some people,
Yeah.
and it does negative things for other people.
And
And
those are great like literary devices you're using because they invoke like
the other
feeling within the
people,
readers. Yeah. Lord Payne, we actually have a special guest. We have
yeah.
Colaway from the Army of Club Penguin.
Good feelings for the ones with me and bad for the ones against me.
Yeah,
What's that?
exactly. So Lord Payne, we actually have a special guest for this podcast today, and it's actually Colaway from the Army of Club Penguin. would you be willing to perhaps have a debate with Mr. Kolowai? I think that could definitely liven some things up. He's been invited to speak.
Okay, I don't know who said I was gonna have a debate. That's wrong. I don't care. I
Hi,
I just
Kolo.
wanted to come in here and I just wanted to come in and say basically that like what Lord Payne was saying about literature is correct. I think a lot of things in that regard, in terms of army theory and inciting passion and inciting people to actually give a shit about Club Penguin armies, has kind of been lost. So Lord Payne, as brash as he can be about saying it, what he's saying is right, you know. Um, so yeah, I saw he was talking in here, and that's the first thing I've heard him say, and I was like, yeah. I mean, he has a point. I feel like armies as a whole have kind of been like lost. So I'm wondering what Lord Payne is talking about. It must not be anything too important if there's like 8 people here. But
well, there's like
I'm saying, like,
yeah.
hey Panini. So yeah, I'm sure you guys have seen. Like, I'm not here to like say ACP forever or anything. Like, I think you guys have seen ACP recently, and you're like, what the fuck? I'm also like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, I heard Lord Payne even said attacking ACP right now would be low down because of how like small they are.
Yeah, they have fallen
So,
incredibly,
yeah,
especially
that's
with the
kinda
mass
like-
retirements.
I don't want to talk about. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it, man. I wish I had time to help them, but I just don't have time to help them, and I don't really care enough to really. So I'm not going to.
Right.
But hey, what's up, Tasty? But yeah, I didn't come in here to debate Lord Payne or anything. I don't. He's like probably gonna tell you guys some really important stuff, even though like I don't know, man. But we have let's see who we have it here, man. We have Aaron Stone, Krasny, Zang.
We've
These
got
are
a
all
good
people who
crowd,
have
yeah.
led armies. Like
Exactly, yeah. These are
these all
experienced people,
who
yeah.
have- yeah, like they're Payne. I think you're preaching to the choir here. I think you need a bigger audience, man. Like you're
Yeah,
saying
I
things to
agree.
people that already know what you're saying. You
We've
know,
got to
like,
get more
these
of the
guys are
community,
either
more of like
legends
the
already or
staff and the
like
high
this-
com in here, you know? Just of armies in general. Because then
Yeah,
they can
podcast
really
is
utilize
being
his
recorded,
knowledge.
so everyone's gonna be able to see it.
Yeah, it's
later.
going to be on the
Oh, sick,
CPAO
yeah.
website.
I'm
Yeah,
just the guest. I'm just the guest. I'm just the
Yeah.
guest that they're doing this for. The media.
This episode is for you, Lord
The media
Payne.
part is for them to do.
yeah, and Kolo, the offer still stands.
Yeah,
I know
Lord
you
Payne
said
is-
you were
Lord Payne is
interested in doing something like this for you
So
as
I
an
haven't heard
interview.
what he said before or anything. I've heard
Right.
he's saying some pretty good things and pretty relevant things about Club Penguin armies, which I feel like the new. Listen to what he's saying and try to apply it to your own army. So maybe you'll max more than 12. All right,
Exactly.
see you guys.
Thanks
Take
for
care,
joining
Kola.
us, special guest. Appreciate it.
that just supported a lot of supported a lot of what I've been talking about. That was actually the best person who could say it right now.
Exactly, especially
Anyways.
from like a differing perspective in armies, you know? Yeah.
Wherever we were, continue on.
Alrighty, let's look for the next question. Do you by any chance know who recruited you into Club Penguin armies?
I saw on Club Penguin, and I Googled them.
Oh, really?
I recruited myself.
Oh, nice. Okay. And here, okay. So, Toto is wondering, do you think armies were better back in OG or as they are currently? I believe the answers to this one is pretty clear, but if you want to answer it, go for it.
The politics, the professionalism, and just the overall routines that leaders went by in the old days were better. Nowadays it's a lot less skill and a lot more just using these shortcuts that Discord provides, and as a result of that, our websites are are suffering, our army websites and our news sites, and those are things that are crucial to the continuance of armies. So we're able to get more sizes recruiting today, probably most definitely than we were back in the old days. Back in the old days, anywhere from 30 to 45 plus was, the tip top world power. Nowadays, in the top three, it could be anywhere from 50, 60, 70. A lot of these people gas their sizes. I don't feel like anyone has maxed 100 plus in a long time. I haven't seen that since some of my battles in RPF. So the recruiting nowadays, I'll say, is a lot better. It's just we're gonna lose numbers anyway because the role play isn't there. So they might be able to get more people, but it's a revolving door, more so than it was in the old days. Because in the old days you could easily maintain 30, 45 plus active people that you see every day. You know each of their names and everything like that. They all know you. It's not the same in today's armies. There's not the same engagement, more of a revolving door. Not enthused and ready to serve. They're players who are being bought, and that's pretty much my answer to that.
Yeah. And just going off of that, I think what has also changed, it's like the average age of the CPA player now, which could in some aspect affect like the role playability, just because these are people who, like when you join CPA, I'll assume you're like 11, 12, something like that. Now you've like aged with the time, and it's like as these people grow up, sometimes they kind of lose that aspect of it, because when you're a kid, like, oh, you want to play like dress up, you want to like be a pirate, or but then as you grow up, I feel like they kind of become more of themselves and less of these characters, which is in a way good because you're finding your own identity, but you do lose some of the initial charm that was in like OG armies, so I think that's something to be considered. All right, do we want to the next question, Lord Payne?
Yeah.
All right. So this question comes out from Eden, who aptly changed his name to ACP representative. He says, on a scale of 1 through 10, how cringe is Mick Happy?
10 million.
Damn. You gotta add some digits at the end of that. And Panini would like to know if you would consider joining the DILFs, which stands for the Dua in Lipa Fighters of Club Penguin. It's a meme army created by Crazy Head and Mare.
Repeat the question.
Panini's wondering if you want to join the DILFs of CP, the Dua in Lipa Fighters.
I'm gonna need you to get the security team to get them out.
Yeah, hold
Right
on.
on it.
Yeah, let's call the
CPA
security. Oh, Panini says they got number 9 on the top 10. She said they aren't a meme. You guys are definitely a meme army, bro. Yeah. Do we have any legitimate questions? I can try to pull one up, but Lord Payne, okay, so you have obviously witnessed the rise and fall of a lot of armies within your time, from, OG to now. What army do you think has remained most...
You just got cut out.
Oh, I got cut out? Can you still hear me?
Can't hear you.
Is it still cutting out? Or can you hear me now?
Fix your...
Hold on. I had a good question, too. Can you hear me, Payne? Damn. Hold on. Payne, can you hear me? Goodness gracious. Can you guys hear me now?
Console, yeah.
That's how we would.
Can you
That's how
guys hear
we
me
would,
now?
go
Yeah,
about
we can
something
hear you
like
now.
Okay, Payne,
Yeah, the council, man. I see one of that back, but I don't know how, the community doesn't want to get together like that and really make something. It would be cool if that could happen, though. The council, man. Hell yeah.
All right, Payne, I've
It
got a
only
good
it,
question
it
for
doesn't
you.
matter if it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if the community wants it or not. It matters if one main leader from every top 10 army would be willing to cooperate with it, because then
Right.
because that's enough to that's enough. Everybody else is just noise. If those people agree on it, then
Right.
it can happen.
I got you. Payne,
Right.
so this was the question I was attempting to ask before my Wi-Fi decided to be disagreeable. So I was wondering, so in your tenure as a Club Penguin army leader, you have obviously seen, the rise and fall of many armies. Which army do you believe has been most consistent and has stayed at the top of their game for their entire lifespan? Are there any armies that stand out in that aspect?
Definitely the Ice Warriors. You gotta give it.
Ooh,
You
yeah.
gotta give it. You gotta give it to them. As far as if I wanted to add another to that list, obviously RPF from 2013 until today. But if we're looking back to 2007 until today, obviously the Ice Warriors.
Right. That's a good answer. And do you think the Ice Warriors prospered specifically under any leaderships, and what would those leaderships be?
Ice Warriors is one army that I'm not familiar with a lot of their leaders. I
They're
remember
most
Albert.
like
I remember
Andrew
Albert,
24. Oh yeah,
Andrew.
yeah.
Yeah,
The True
Albert.
Crew, Final
Andrew.
Chaser. Yeah.
Uh,
Test 7, King Funk's 4.
yeah. Not him. But
Yeah,
yeah, Icy Feet. Obviously, I respect his work.
definitely.
Icy Feet was great. Not violent enough, but he was great though.
Yeah. What army do you believe during your tenure has been the most aggressive? The most ready to make these big plays, to instigate these conflicts and start, conflicts that could eventually blossom into major conflicts? Any specific
Uh,
armies?
uh, definitely RPF, especially when me
Mm-hmm.
and Elmaki were around. Mustafa's Doritos. The Pirates, the Light Troops. Trying to think. I did say RPF already.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
said
said
RPF.
Dark Warriors.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Sans Yunks
I think
specifically,
I think
or
those. I want to say SWAT. I want to say SWAT too at points.
with like
Um,
Zook. Yeah.
the
Zook's
biggest the biggest aggressors were I think those armies probably
yeah.
probably in our entire history. RPF, Pirates, uh, I almost forgot the Templars too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're a new generation acquisition, so I guess they
Yeah.
would
Well,
probably when you're
I didn't know how far back in time we're going. If we're going the entire history
yeah.
of armies, then the whole list is basically RPF, Pirates, Light Troops, Templars, Dark Warriors, SWAT, um, Doritos,
Hmm.
Nachos. I almost forgot the Nachos.
Yeah.
You know that's the whole. That's all of them.
Do you think because I know you briefly led SWAT before you recouped, and SWAT has a history of a rivalry with ACP and a hatred towards ACP. So where did you find yourself involved in that SWAT community? Were you, rushing to make plans to go to war against ACP, or where did you find yourself in that situation?
I had known Ganger, and I had known him from when I was in GT, and I had said earlier that I broke my computer and I came back, in the first army that I joined in 2012 was SWAT, and when I was able to get on another computer, obviously I didn't have one, but when I was able to go certain places and get on a computer and hop on for a little bit, I had been talking to Ganger about my return and stuff like that, and we were just uh, kindred spirits from the Golden Troops, and it was nothing about ACP or anything like that at that time. It was just about jumping back in the game for me. So
Yeah.
I jumped in SWAT, and we did a little bit of work there.
Right. And as someone who was removed from the Special Weapons and Tactics leadership, do you think that affects your image of the Army at all, or do you still, think of them
I
in
don't
the
even
same high
remember.
regard?
I don't even remember what happened in SWAT, whether I left or I got. Yeah, I did. I did get. I know I was in and out of SWAT a couple of times, and I did get removed. I don't believe any of that affects my image, because I never in all these armies that I was in and out of. First of all, the army did better with me, worse without me. That's the same story for every army that I was ever in,
Right.
and I never got on and said that I'm going to be SWAT's eternal leader and I'm here until the end of time and this is my home. And I was my goal was to kill ACP exclusively. The people who was around me, their goals was to participate in Club Penguin warfare and engage in pointless battles, accomplishing nothing until retirement. You know what I mean?
Right.
They weren't worried about shaping this community's future. They weren't worried about eliminating threats and purifying the politics of this community.
Yeah.
They're worried about the March Madness tournament and the Legends Cup and the top 10 positions and beating this dumb army because this guy said that he insulted whoever and yada yada yada, all the army drama. I'm worried. The only thing that's on my mind is the death of ACP and anything that contributes towards that. And that ties in with what I said earlier, that everything that took place, all the controversial events, it was all just gimmicks and acts of controversy in order to either good or bad, cooped or not cooped, get my name out there, because whether I was removed or I kept going in that army, I still got it into a higher top 10 position than what it was in yesterday. So by the time I'm leaving there, whether I'm cooped or whatever, I've they're just another addition to my highlight reel of success with armies in the top 10. You know what I mean? I had my wars in these armies. I had my tournaments in these armies and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I'm a several time Christmas Chaos and Legends Cup winner. And on top of that, I was in big wars with all the big named armies. And I led more armies into the top 10, top 5, and top 3 than any leader ever. So, if anything, it contributed, cooped or not cooped. still got the top 10 position, and unlike other leaders who led consistently in one army, um, I was leader for 12 years across 10 different armies, with the longest one being RPF, where I was either shadow leading because I didn't have time to lead full time. When I was advisor of RPF, I was still making all the decisions for the army with Elmaki. So I was shadow leading RPF from 2015 up until I returned uh, for the Pain Wars. Because when if you rewind all the way back to 2015, um, when Elmaki took back RPF in 2015, we were a small army again. So from 2015 up until my leave on RPF, a part of its regrowth was me. Obviously, I was coming on, I was doing auto typing, but as if whether I was leading or I was shadow leading, I was coming on and I was chat recruiting. All of my loyalists were in RPF, and I was doing auto typing right there with them. So we rebuilt RPF together, and yeah. So
Yeah.
I can't be classified as if where you're going with this, since just because you're mentioning does it affect my image or my legacy or whatever? No, it doesn't, because my home army was RPF. I was in them for several years. You know, most people have never even led an army for 1 year, while I was consistently, besides a small part of, 2011, I was consistently leading top 10 armies for 12 years, and from 2015 to 2017, I was basically leader. I was basically leader of RPF. So, but besides me, only Ganger and Icy Feet have led armies longer than me. And Ganger was in two armies. He was in GT and SWAT, and Icy Feet was obviously only in the Ice Warriors. So, but there's no difference between us other than the fact that Ganger joined in 2008 and Icy was joined in 2007. I joined in 2009. There's no difference between us other than the fact that Ganger stayed in two and Icy Feet stayed in one. I was still consistently at the amongst the top of the hierarchy of Club Penguin armies, regardless of me changing armies or whatever. So it didn't affect my image, especially when my final army was number one for the majority of 2013 to 2017. RPF never stopped being number one, and under my entire leadership in the Pain Wars, RPF was number one the entire time. So
Yeah.
that's the answer to that question.
Yeah, it's awesome. And that's very it's extremely impressive. And I feel like your spark and passion to just destroy and obliterate ACP, but not only do that, but also create your own legacy in history. It's very admirable. Going on to like the ACP, segment, do you have any plans in the future to execute your plans of domination against the army of Club Penguin, and how would you hope to achieve those goals?
We're just gonna have to see where things go. You know what I mean? I was in the Spartans. Those guys all made promises. They were all older. They knew I was older. They knew they were older. Mustafa, it was his plan to run the army off of a gaming chat. It was my plan to run the army traditionally and create our own chat uh, for the Spartans, so that things wouldn't be messy. Things were messy. You know what I mean? Who the fuck do you know who can get? I'm not saying it was all me, but I created the post. Obviously, I created the post on the Spartans chat for people to sign up for the army and create their their um their CPR account. That post has over 90 comments on it. You
Right.
know what I mean? I created that. I was orchestrating getting those comments on that site. Who do you know who could do that
Yeah,
other
that's
than me?
true. Yeah, you did exceptional with
Nobody.
everything with Spartans. Yeah, yeah.
nobody. And it wasn't. It was no matter how good we were just doing it flawed the entire time. If we were never doing it flawed, we probably would have been getting 50, 60, 70. You know what I mean? But we were doing it flawed on that gaming chat, and everything that we tried to do Club Penguin wise was covered up by the activities that they had going on there. And Mustafa just, he has his girlfriend and stuff like that. And
Ken Queen?
Robert,
Yeah.
Roberto, I don't think he was ever for real with it. I wanted him to be. I was just giving him time. Maxime, he quit for college. And Mustafa just
Damn it.
didn't want to do it, and I'm the only person who wanted to continue on through all issues and keep on pushing. You know what I mean? We got our. You know what I mean? These armies today are maxing 20, 30, and 40, and some of them are in the top three. Spartans were circling the berg, and they were getting those sizes too. So you know what I mean? So it's not. It's no. It's it's no blemish. You know what I mean? Armies take a team with no fucking staff. Obviously, the thing's not taking off. If you put me in an army with no staff, the thing's not taking off. You know what I mean? Everybody knows what it is, and that's it for that.
Yep. But I think everything you've done with
Did I even answer your
Spartans.
question? What was the
Oh, my question was,
what
do you
was
have any future
what was the
plans?
question?
I said, do you have any future plans to exact your total domination upon the army of Club Penguin? But you were mostly touching on Spartans and like
Yeah,
that. So, do you have any
right,
plans in the
right.
future, and how do you plan to exact
Yeah.
these plans?
I'm just gonna, it's like I said, I told everybody before the Spartans, I decided to do the Spartans because I wanted to lead with Mustafa one more time, and regardless of him having a plan that I didn't agree with, which was running the thing off the gaming chat, which he was trying to create some kind of community type deal, kind of like what the RPF is doing with their gaming chat. He wanted to do that. He thought it would lead to more engagement and better results with the army, and it went the way it went. You know what I mean? It wasn't my plan. I cooperated with it. You know what I mean? I got those comments. I was recruiting 100 to 200 people, in a week. Um, and we got some sizes less than we should have gotten because we weren't doing it properly, because we weren't following the plan that I wanted to employ. And I told everybody that I'm too old to be building armies, and I did it anyway. You know what I mean? And I'm too old to be building armies, and I'm not trying to start fresh with anything. I wanted to just join. I wanted to join the RPF and boost their size, teach them some things that I know, and get them looking back similarly to how they looked when me and Elmaki were leading. And if it's not RPF, um, right now, looking at the top 10, there's not any armies that I'm really interested in. With me comes hundreds of recruits and the money and resources that it takes for an army nowadays. I'm taking that with me wherever I go, and there's nobody that I'm going to gift that, especially because they're not going to follow uh, my agenda. And when I say that, I don't mean that any army that I join, they instantly have to become what I want them to. I don't want to change. I don't want to change anything. I'm not going to bully anyone around or anything like that. I'm just trying to work with people on equal footing, and just use these 12 years of experience and just do some good things. And that's my only goal for the RPF. I want their leaders to be able to talk to me and look to me as that guy, and I can be friendly with them. They don't even respond when I try to talk to them now, and I want that to change, and I hope it does. And
Yep.
you know I have no immediate plans to join an army. I would join RPF today. I would join the Ice Warriors today. You know what I mean? Ice Warriors has never really been a violent army. I'd like to see what an Ice Warriors with Lord Payne and Icy Feet at the top would look like. I think we could create a violent war machine out of that army. It would just be a matter of Icy Feet wanting to get down with it. And, just like how I never begged anyone for CPAC Legend, I never begged anyone for the Brightest Bulb Award either, but 70 people voted. 70 people voted for me on it, even though I didn't even know the Brightest Bulb Award was a thing. I didn't even know it was within existence. I didn't know that my name was on anything. I didn't know that the community was doing polls. You know what I mean? Anyone who's a top 3 leader right now and they're not a fucking brainless idiot, you know what I mean? They should obviously want me to come aboard, but I'm not begging anyone. I'm not begging anyone for anything, and nor do I have to. And the community is going to roll through its motions. I'm going to be watching the top 10, and if I can jump in somewhere, then great. I'll hop in and I'll show you guys that classic shit. And that's the answer to your question.
Nice. I appreciate that. And Payne, would you like to? So we have a request. This was widely requested by Panini and Leela. They spammed me many times about this. They would like to know your opinion on short men. So an example of a short man would be like Lord Farquaad from Shrek, if you were wondering what I'm
gonna need the
referencing.
security team to take them out of here.
Yo, Zook's only 5'6". Yo, Panini can vouch for that. My goodness. No,
Nah,
she's okay.
Zook is always 6 feet tall, man. Because
I'm 6'1", bro. Yeah.
He carries around a dead ACP penguin to stand on, man.
Amazing. That's the way to do it. It's like you're a red carpet right there. A dead ACP penguin. It's amazing. Lord Payne, I'm trying to think of other questions that haven't really been elaborated on. How did you actually feel upon receiving the news that you had won the Brightest Bulb Award in Club Penguin Army Headquarters' Night of Debauchery?
It was a little bit of motivation because I've been here for 12 years and I kept a lot of things secret, up until a few years ago. I never spoke a word about my role in the Black Alliance, you know what I mean? For the longest time, until I started making posts about this, and I made more than one on different websites, until I started letting people in on my history and let people know that I just wasn't some guy who led 10 armies. I was a political figure and one of the most powerful leaders who ever set foot in this game. And I had to let people know I was here for this, that, and the third. All those things being legendary situations, and I had to let them know my role in them, so that they can realize that I wasn't just some army hopper. I was never an army hopper. I can't be classified as an army hopper because I was in RPF for several years. You know what I mean? I stopped that myth a long time ago. And where the fuck was it? I'm sorry. I just completely lost my train. What was the question? What was the question?
I was talking about the Brightest Bulb, but there's actually something else I wanted to bring up.
All right, that just all right. Let me finish what I was saying. Just being in the community for 12 years and never begging anyone for anything, and being a guy that everybody thought I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I won't do this, I won't do that, and now today, so much has come out to where people know in the mainstream, Lord Payne did this, he did that, he will do this, he will do that, he can really recruit like that, he is really good like that, he is one of the best. Now that people know it, it's just great, because I've always spoke on, when people have asked me about this legend, that legend, this process for getting legend, these guys, these judges who are deciding it, voting on it, when people have asked me everything related to becoming a CPAC legend or a Club Penguin Army legend, I've always said and I've been saying this for years. Everybody has had to beg for it, or just go from chat to chat, DMing all their friends, to get them to vote. And I've never asked nobody nothing. And after being that guy, like I said, that people say, I didn't do this, didn't do that, and now look at me now. I'm not asking for nothing. They're giving it to me because I took it. And I took it with everything that I ever did, every battle that I ever fought, every army I ever led in the top 10, every tournament I ever won, the Pain Wars. I took it with that. That's how I took it. So they didn't give me that award. I took that shit.
Legit. And Lord Payne, something I wanted to mention about the esteemed Brightest Bulb Award is that it has only been won by one other individual. I don't know if you're familiar with the Exceptional Pizza Gang, but he is a sensation. He revolutionized the community. He actually held podcasts in the Club Penguin Army hub, their voice chats. So how does it feel to be ranked the same as Pizza Gang?
Pizza Gang. He's from
The
RPM.
same as Pizza Gang. Who came up with this question, man?
You're talking about Pizza Gang.
Yeah,
Pizza Gang from
Pizza Gang.
RPM, right?
No, he was from
Stop laughing. I'm asking you.
he was from Ice Warriors.
Yeah, I think he's from
Ice
Ice
Warriors.
Warriors. Yeah. He was a
Yeah.
noob.
Oh,
He
I'm
was just
thinking.
a noob.
I'm thinking about Pizza. I'm thinking about Pizza Ninja. That's the one that was in RPF.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was the recipient
this
of
is
the same
some,
award as you.
New
the
Age troop.
yeah, the prior year.
Oh,
So he is your co-brightest bulb.
right. I don't know the circumstances surrounding that, so I can't really comment on it.
That's fair. Yeah. So this interview is almost gone on for 2 hours, Payne. Would you like to conclude, or I can keep on finding questions if you're interested in going on? It's completely up to you.
Yeah, we can keep going. We can keep going on, man.
I just do want to bring up that the viewing
I'm rolling
audience.
up another blunt right now. We'll
Oh,
stop when you
but
want to
yeah.
stop.
Yeah, the viewing audience has
Rolling.
dwindled a little bit, but Zing, I know you rejoined VC. Do you have any questions? Oh, Leela says the audience never sleeps. It's amazing, Leela. Leela, do you have any further questions for Lord Payne? Just make sure these are not questions that would provoke me to have to call the security team to take you away once again. Yeah. Leela says, as long as ACP lives, we don't sleep. It's a very good statement right there. Yeah.
I love her. I'm blowing her kisses right now.
Ooh, Leela. Oh, actually, that leads me to another topic.
On
Okay.
the cheek like a dad. No, you know what? On the forehead like 6ix9ine. On the forehead like Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Wait. So, Lord Payne, that actually brings up an interesting point because you and myself were in Spartans VC with Stevie, and Stevie had mentioned something about his relationship with Rach. So, Lord Payne, how do you feel about daters?
Oh, of course not. Absolutely no. Never. That needs to be banned. That's banned from armies. This and matter of fact, this is me officially banning that from armies. That's banned.
Put it on the council, bro.
And wait, somebody who's here in the chat asked you to ask that? I'm gonna need you to take that. I'm gonna need you to have them take away
Yeah,
by
we gotta
security.
escort them out really quick. My goodness. Goodness gracious. Yeah, we have some feedback in the chat with people agreeing with you wholeheartedly, Pan. Even though I know Panini was once going to attempt to e-date, so I'm very glad that you did not do that, Panini. That would not have been the best circumstance.
Yes,
yeah.
Shouldn't e-date on the Club Penguin Army.
Panini, you showed me the DMs between you and
This
this
is the
person.
place-
Yeah.
A lot of those people, and that makes me touch on to another subject. All that e-dating and stuff like that comes from a group of people that we have in armies who have personal problems, who are trying to use armies as too much of a crutch. A lot of people use this as some type of crutch, and it's okay to do that to some degree to where it's not weird, but if you have those kind of issues, you need to seek actual help, and you need to talk to your parents and stuff like that. You need to go to a psychiatrist and stuff like that, and you just need to get your social skills on point
Yeah.
to where you're not dating on Club Penguin Armies.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know, I
legit.
completely agree with everything you're saying. Getting your social skills up and running, yeah, for sure, man. Eating on here is definitely something you don't want to do, and
Exactly.
I think it helps me because I don't do that shit, and it's like it helps me be a different person in the community.
Yeah.
And you know, not only that, I've had when I was leading SWAT, I've had HComp who are just started dating each other, and then they break up, and it's just all this drama, and it's like it's horrible, man. Horrible shit.
Yeah. And it's also, I know the Templars had a large dilemma with like their recent leadership. They had two leaders that were dating, and then they had broken up, and now they are both gone from the Templars, so they have lost two leaders, and one of them was
Oh,
actually a
man.
legend. Yeah, so it's very unfortunate to see happen, but it's usually like,
Zing.
yeah,
Can't let people date in the Templars, man.
exactly. You don't regret. Oh damn. Okay, Zing. Zing, do you have any comments on that situation? Actually, Zing, I feel like Zing would be able to have some nice questions for Lord Payne. Yeah, he said it's toxic
You know,
and unneeded.
Payne, back on Zat, there was a feature where you could literally marry someone and have like a heart between your accounts, your profiles. So like that's why that flourished on Zat, but there's no reason for them to be doing that on Discord. Like that's just over the top.
Yeah, legit.
There's another thing that I wanted to touch on too, and it's the imaginary existence of small and medium armies. All these people who are wasted on small and medium armies, those are all people that are missing from the top 10 armies that actually contribute to the continuation of armies. As long as we maintain the top 10 large armies, which are the only large armies is the only real army. That there's the only real armies are large armies. Everything else, it's not even an, when they log on, it's not even a force. You can't even call that a force. Uh, if it's under 20 penguins, it's arguably not an army. And that's something that the I always say I'm by the book. So I mean the book does say that a small army is 5+. So I guess that rule hasn't officially changed, but I did say that the rules
Yeah.
do need some updating. I believe that we should press down on these troll armies and these small armies and stuff like that, and we have to stop allowing people to turn the community into a meme, because that kind of activity is encouraged by that, and there's people who are paying attention to these these joke armies that are alive today and dead tomorrow.
Right.
These armies that have garbage names, that these people have zero intention of reaching the top 10, or more importantly taking that #1 spot. If you're a motivated Club Penguin Army leader, your goal should be to lead to #1 on the top 10. It should be
Yeah.
nothing short of that. And if you're not throwing all of your energy towards that, then you shouldn't be taking resources from large armies by having these troll armies. It just doesn't make any sense. It's just everybody should be together, and there's plenty of room in the top 10. So all these armies, they should just be shut down. We shouldn't include them on any top 10s. I know that the top 10s have I know that the top 10s usually aren't just top 10. They usually do a top 15, right? So
It's just top 10 now.
they don't have those small armies there anymore.
They have little like close to the top 10 at the bottom, but it's
Yeah,
not
see,
50. Yeah,
those are the ones. Those are the ones that shouldn't even be there. You know what I mean? We should exclude them from the top 10. We should make them. We should make them disband. Get them merged into large armies. And any army that's up and coming, it should be led by people who've led into the top 5 or the top 3 before, not just some no named, Billy Bob who's just deciding to jump in the game. And
right.
because back when people used to do that in the old days, sometimes things would spark from it. Like obviously, I did that. I joined the Night Warriors and then the Dark Warriors, and then I moved on, leading small armies and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But the environment was different today. The community is more educated, and we're more capable of guiding people nowadays. That an easier and an easier path to where all the knowledge that you will ever need, you can earn that knowledge by just the simple act of staying loyal to a top 10 army. And then as a result of this, with no troll armies, everybody's spread evenly across the top 10 armies, and we're just we're stronger that way, I think.
yeah. Something I want to bring up, in relation to the small medium comments that you've made, and you said the goal should be to try to get in the top 10 armies. The top 10 armies, so in this community, I don't know if you're aware, but recently we only have 5 major armies. These major armies are the Ice Warriors, the Rebel Penguin Federation, the Help Force, the Templars, and the Water Vikings. SWAT and Silver Empire have recently dropped to small medium status. So all of the remaining armies besides those 5 are small medium, so the top 10 is filled with small medium armies and major armies alike just because of the scarcity of major armies' existence, you know?
Yeah. An army coming up is different. Like I said, an army coming up is different if it's led by professionals who have intentions to get it somewhere, and they could actually do it within a quick pace. If people who when it comes to armies, they don't know their left hand from their right, they shouldn't be just let's create a chat and lead an army, because then especially if it's someone who's kind of a jokester, and they have like a there's certain people who are just kind of I don't know even how to describe them. They're just like uh those jokester type guys that attract a lot of people, and they have a lot of uh friends in the community. A lot of those people will flock to this joke army, and it's just a distraction, and a waste of resources. And those people are needed in real armies that are a part of the circle of life. And the circle of life in armies, that's the armies in the top 10 that stay consistently in the top 10, that have history. I'm not saying that nobody can ever create a new army ever again. You know what I mean? It just has to be done in such a way that they're prepared with the resources and the skills to do so, to where if they create an army, then within a week or two, they're competing on the large top 10. If you can't achieve that, then you should be somewhere getting your training and contributing towards the community in the best possible way, in one of the already top 10 armies.
Yeah. That's very good. Um, have you ever heard of the Club Penguin Army, the Animal Kingdom? They were a small medium army back in the Club Penguin Online days.
No.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering because it was an army that Leela had led. She's actually a legend in that army. Yeah, she was discussing it with me and the DMs. It's pretty cool. Lord Payne, I know you have said a good amount of things about small medium armies, but do you think you would ever have a favorite small medium army? Like maybe one you worked with that supported you in your alliances or anything? Something like that.
Repeat that question.
I know you like immensely prefer the major army scene in relation to the small medium army scene. But do you think there are any small medium armies that stand out to you that you can see are willing to work and potentially make the next step to become major?
No, I haven't been watching the the smaller armies. I haven't even been watching um the larger. I just looked at the top 10 the other day. Um, the smaller armies, I haven't seen any of their chats. I don't know any of the leaders. I don't know anybody in any of them.
Yeah. Alrighty. Payne, we have actually just reached the 2-hour mark on this podcast. Is there anything specifically you would like to say? Let me give the floor to you for a second.
Um, I think we talked about a lot. I think we covered a lot of what I wanted to cover.
Yeah.
You know, my journey was just controversial events that I lined up, that I manipulated and used to my benefit towards my goal of being the first one to kill ACP, and doing it by the book. And I did it by the book. I took every single one of ACP's servers. I was the first person to do that while fighting 4 other armies. Took no damage in the war.
Yeah.
And trying to think. And the reason I've done that is because I believe that when ACP dies once and for all, the entire political system of this community will change, and it'll massively benefit the rest
Yeah.
of the top 10 armies. Like when ACP dies, all of their troops are going to flock across the top 10 armies, boosting everybody's strength. And the way that the news sites are ran will change drastically. And a lot of issues that we have today, a lot of problems that people have with other people because of ACP, all of that is going to go away. And that was my goal, and it still is. And it was just a journey. Like I said, it was a journey of controversial events and gimmicks manipulated by me, all leading up to that moment when I had that conversation with Mock, and we decided to open the Black Alliance, and then I manipulated events there. And throughout my journey, I met people like Elmaki and Mustafa, and I helped shape their careers. 2 guys who became CPAC legends, both of them taught by me, employed their own versions of my methodologies in their armies. Um, and when the Black Alliance did its thing and ACP fell, it never would have happened without me. And then I continued on, leading different armies, and everywhere I went, I talked about killing ACP, and all those armies that I led, I talked about killing ACP, and everybody that I came into contact with, I tried to get them to think how I thought, or at least show them my thoughts so that they can pick and choose. And even if they follow a bit of the ways of even if they gain a bit of the perception that I had, I had achieved something there. And eventually, the way that I changed things with the ACP is because people started thinking that ACP could really die. And before me, nobody thought that. And that's why I couldn't lead the Black Alliance either. I had to have Water Kid do it, because nobody thought that killing ACP was possible, and even talk about
That's
killing ACP,
crazy.
that was taboo before I came. It became not taboo when I came, and nowadays, when you talk about killing ACP, everybody knows that it's a thing, and everybody knows that it wasn't the light troops. They couldn't do it. All those wars against the ACP and light troops didn't do a single thing compared to me. And Dark Warriors, SWAT, name it pirates, name any army that went to war against ACP, and they did not do a single thing. The only one who did anything was me, and and all the violence and all the things that so many things that I employed that was taboo before I came. People like Elmaki and Mustafa and all the aggressive leaders that popped up over the years. Zing, these guys would Waterkid, all these guys would never have come to be if I hadn't started all that. Because it all started out in small armies. When I came on before I even had a name as a leader, I was spitting that violent shit to everybody, and what became what became uh, a noob, or what was a noob, and what was someone speaking taboo, and what was someone employing methods that are forbidden or wrong. These things became mainstream in armies, and the idea of killing ACP became mainstream in armies when Lord Payne came. And through all of that, and all of the people who took things from me, uh, the community became shaped in the years from 2009. Me doing my little things here and there, them spreading around the community. Me getting put on the UMA Hall of Shame on the first day of me visiting the army, just for hate speech. That's a controversial act that a lot of people talked about, and whether it was good or bad, it put my name in people's mouth, and so no matter what I did, my name wouldn't stay out of their mouth. And then it came to the day where the Black Alliance was already done. Everybody knew about all the violence and all the shit talking and all the shit that I did, and then everybody copied it, and the community became active because of me in the Pain Wars. There was nothing going on. Then I came and I brought Club Penguin Warfare with me. Whenever I become involved in the community, Club Penguin Warfare begins. And people know now that I'm that guy, and nobody will ever open their mouth and say I didn't do this, I didn't do that, because they know on God that I did that shit. And they also know on God that they would lose at their best against me at my best. I know that they know that on God. And I am a legend, and nobody gave me that shit. I took that shit. I came in this community. I came in this community with a black mask, and if the community uh, turned into a human for a second, and I was a human, well, I was the one in the black mask, and I fucking reached in the community's pocket and I fucking robbed the shit out of the community. That's what I did. Took that shit, and that's why, especially now after this brightest bulb thing, a whole 70 people that I never asked for voting for me, they know now without a shadow of a doubt, even without this brightest bulb thing, if they hadn't voted me for that, people know now without a shadow of a doubt that I am the real deal and that I am the best of all time, the first man to kill ACP, easily the biggest thing that you can accomplish in armies. ACP is the first army. Their nation consisted of almost every single army on Club Penguin. Do the math on how many invasions that is for even a fraction of the total amount of ACP servers. You know what I mean? And I did all that while fighting 4 armies. Nobody's doing that, man. Just me. And nobody ever say that I didn't do this and that. You know what I mean? I said that already, but you're gonna give me my credit, even if you don't say it out loud inside your head. If you're someone who's hating on me, inside your head, you know how great I am. I know you know that. I know you know that because I'm here. I'm here 12 years in and still going for a reason. Everybody knows that,
Yeah.
and everybody knows what I did, man. I shaped it from 2009 to modern day. The things that I did, it shaped what we became. You know, if ACP hadn't everything good that happened after the Black Alliance, those good things were able to happen because I opened the door for them. And then I skated off that up until I made it to RPF. I found my home, and then I did the thing in 2017 that I said I was going to do in 2011, 2012. I stayed dedicated for that long, and I became the first man ever to take down ACP. I did better than all these other guys. I did better against ACP than an entire alliance did against them. You know what I mean? I am the best of all time at this shit. I know that. And that's all.
That's crazy.
God bless God bless armies and death to ACP.
Yeah. Legit. Well, that was exceptional, Payne. I really appreciate you coming on, giving us some of your time, and imparting your wisdom upon us. That was spectacular. Yeah, I think you've really astonished all of us. You know?
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. All right. Payne, thank you so much. We really appreciate having you on the show. Did you enjoy your time?
Yeah, I did.
That's awesome to hear, man. Alrighty.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on, man. Thank you so
Definitely,
much.
definitely. Yeah, this was the
Yeah.
longest episode we've had
No,
so
it's
far, and probably will be at a whopping 2 hours and 12 minutes of runtime. So thank you for that, Payne.
Hey, that's content, man.
I just
Yeah.
can't wait. I
Exactly.
just can't wait to watch it back, man. As soon as you
No,
upload it,
exactly.
send me that, man.
I got you, man. And I know it's going to be viewed by so many people across the community. Not only those people that voted you for that esteemed, coveted award that you won in CPHQ, but also by, other people who, like, probably ACP will watch it as well. I feel like that'll give
Yeah,
them
they'll
a
watch it.
perspective to, like, what you are thinking during all of this. Because they're always like, oh, Lord Payne hates us. But it's like, now they can kind of see the intricacies of it, Which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Payne. Well, thank you very much for your time. I'm gonna end the stage, so just take care, you guys, and have a wonderful night.
You too, man.
All right, peace. Bet.